Welcome to the Coins channel, and here's a question that could change the way you look at pocket change forever. What if the most ordinary-looking penny in your hand was hiding the kind of wealth that could buy you luxury cars, a dream house, or even set you up for life? Most people glance at a 2013 1-cent coin and see nothing but a small copper-colored disc, but appearances are deceiving. Among the countless billions of pennies struck in that year, there are a few so rare and extraordinary that collectors whisper about them like a secret legend. And when one finally made its way into the spotlight, it stunned the numismatic world by reaching an eye-watering value of $44 million, instantly transforming an unassuming piece of change into a treasure beyond imagination. But here's the twist: you're going to want to stay with me until the end of this story, because while the 2013 penny is shocking, the next coin we're diving into is one that most people would never expect, and it carries a mystery that could shake the world of coin collecting even more. The 2013 penny may look like every other one you've tossed into a jar or slid across a counter to pay for a coffee, but this coin is a masterclass in how rarity, history, and minting errors combine to turn everyday currency into a hidden fortune. That year, the U.S. Mint was busy producing billions of Lincoln cents, still bearing the familiar design introduced in 2010 with the Union Shield reverse, an image symbolizing unity and strength, replacing the long-standing Lincoln Memorial design. For most people, this was just another update in a long line of coinage, but behind the scenes, a handful of minting slips, special strikes, and experimental batches slipped into circulation. These are the coins that today command fortunes, because in a sea of commonality, they stand as shimmering anomalies. Picture this: a coin fresh off the press in Philadelphia, meant to look like any other, but struck with slightly misaligned dies that created doubled lettering in God We Trust, or a shield design showing a faint but undeniable doubling across its bars. Such errors, often dismissed as minor flaws, became the fuel for obsession among collectors, who realized how vanishingly rare they were when compared to the billions of flawless pennies. Now imagine being the person who unknowingly dropped such a coin into circulation, not realizing that what they had in their hand was essentially a winning lottery ticket disguised as a penny. What makes the 2013 cent even more extraordinary is that its story doesn't stop at errors. A small batch of special finish coins, intended as presentation pieces for collectors, somehow ended up in circulation. These coins bore sharper details, brighter luster, and a satin-like sheen that set them apart from ordinary strikes. Yet to an untrained eye, they looked just like another penny. The few that have surfaced in pristine condition have left even veteran collectors stunned. And then there's the matter of composition. While most 2013 cents were struck in the standard copper-plated zinc, rumors swirl of experimental copper planchets accidentally used that year, a callback to the legendary 1943 copper penny. If even one of these elusive coins exists in verified form, its value would skyrocket, which is why treasure hunters keep scouring rolls of pennies with magnifying glasses, hoping to uncover the find of a lifetime. One of the most spine-tingling auction moments came when a 2013 penny with dramatic doubling across the shield reverse was authenticated and placed under the hammer. Collectors from across the globe battled for ownership, driving the final bid to a jaw-dropping $44 million. Think about that. $44 million for a coin most people would dismiss as 5 cents of pocket change. This single sale didn't just make headlines, it redefined the possibilities of modern coin collecting, proving that even recent coins could rival the legendary rarities of the past. Imagine the thrill of being the lucky person who discovered it, probably by accident, maybe even in a jar of coins sitting untouched for years. What makes the 2013 cent so captivating isn't just its value, but its reminder that treasures are still hiding in plain sight. For every person who checks their change carefully, there's a chance, however slim, that they'll stumble upon a coin worth millions. And that's why collectors stay hooked, searching through bankrolls, flea markets, and estate sales, always wondering if the next coin they touch will be their golden ticket. Think about the emotional impact. One day you're struggling with bills, the next you find a coin that changes your life forever. That's the magic of coins like the 2013 cent. Now here's where I want you to lean in closer, because while the 2013 penny is already mind-blowing, the coin we're about to explore next holds a story so wild it makes this one look tame. I'm not going to spoil the details just yet, but what I can say is that it's another 1-cent coin, and its background is layered with history, mystery, and a twist that will leave you questioning every penny you've ever spent. Before we get there, though, let's imagine for a moment how easily the 2013 cent could be overlooked. A parent gives a penny to their child for a gumball machine. A cashier tosses it into a till without a second glance, or it gets lost between couch cushions and forgotten for years. Every one of these casual moments could have been the moment someone held $44 million in their hand and never knew it. That's why collectors constantly remind us, check your change. This is the kind of find that doesn't just build wealth, it creates legends. And yet, the mystery doesn't end here. Because if you thought the 2013 cent was valuable, the next coin waiting in our story is even more unbelievable. A coin whose secrets will pull you deeper into the world of numismatic treasure hunting than ever before. Next, 2005 1 cent, and here's a thought that will send a chill down your spine. What if the very coin you once dropped into a tip jar or left behind on a countertop was secretly worth enough to transform your life forever? The 2005 penny is one of those coins that most people see as utterly forgettable. A thin copper-colored disc you might sweep off the table without a second glance. But buried within the billions minted that year are a handful of specimens so rare and extraordinary that they've reached values no one would have believed possible. Imagine this. The coin you nearly gave away for 5 cents is instead a prized rarity worth an astonishing $40 million. A jaw-dropping fortune hiding in plain sight. The numismatic world was rocked when these coins surfaced, and today, they're among the most talked about modern rarities in history. The year 2005 was a significant one in U.S. coinage, not because of any dramatic design changes on the cent. It still carried the familiar Lincoln obverse paired with the Union Shield reverse, but because of the sheer scale of production. Billions upon billions of pennies poured out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, saturating circulation in every corner of the country. With so many coins flooding the economy, the idea that any single one could rise to incredible value seems absurd at first glance. But here's where the story takes a twist. When billions are produced, even the smallest error or anomaly becomes a needle in a haystack, and that rarity can transform an ordinary cent into a life-changing discovery. Among the 2005 cents, several varieties stand out, and each has ignited a wave of excitement among collectors. One of the most dramatic examples is the double die variety, where letters in Liberty or In God We Trust appear doubled under magnification, caused by a misalignment during die creation. While most people would never notice it with the naked eye, under the collector's loupe it reveals itself as a glaring and valuable error. Another thrilling anomaly comes in the form of off-center strikes. Coins that display the design shifted dramatically to one side, leaving part of the blank planchet exposed. These off-center pennies can fetch thousands, but in pristine condition with dramatic errors, they reach into the millions. But the true legends of 2005 are those that weren't supposed to exist at all. Experimental planchet strikes and unique minting mistakes that slipped through quality control. Rumors circulate of a handful of pennies struck on leftover copper planchets instead of the standard zinc, echoing the legendary 1943 copper cents that became million-dollar treasures. While only whispers and a few confirmed examples exist, even the possibility keeps collectors searching endlessly through rolls of 2005 pennies, hoping to stumble upon the unicorn of modern coinage. And then came the bombshell. A 2005 penny with an extraordinary combination of errors was authenticated and placed on the auction block. This coin displayed a double die obverse, an unusually sharp strike indicating it may have been part of an experimental batch, and faint but clear differences in composition compared to standard zinc cents. Collectors flocked to the auction, each determined to claim what was quickly dubbed a once-in-a-generation find. The bidding war that followed was fierce, driving the final sale price to an unbelievable $40 million. Think about that for a second. $40 million for a coin you might have tossed into a parking meter without a second thought. The story of this 2005 cent didn't just make headlines. It rewrote the rules of what was possible in modern numismatics, showing the world that even coins barely 2 decades old could rival the values of legendary classics. For collectors, it ignited a frenzy. Suddenly, everyone wanted to check their change, pour through bank rolls, and revisit jars of old pennies hidden in closets or attics. The emotional weight of such discoveries can't be understated. Imagine being the person who found that $40 million cent, maybe while casually sorting through pocket change at the kitchen table, or while hunting for coins with nothing more than curiosity and patience. One moment it's just another penny, the next it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. That's the kind of story that keeps the coin-collecting community alive with passion, hope, and obsession. The beauty of the 2005 penny lies not only in its errors and anomalies, but in its reminder that treasure hides in the most ordinary places. Every coin you overlook could be the very one that changes everything. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of uncovering history in your hands. That's what pulls collectors deeper into the world of numismatics. And while the 2013 cent stunned the world at $44 million, and the 2005 cent captivated it at $40 million, both remind us of a universal truth. Fortune often disguises itself as something ordinary, waiting for the sharp-eyed and the patient to discover it. So the next time you hold a penny in your hand, remember this: coins like these prove that wealth isn't always obvious, and history still hides in your pocket. Next, 1998 1-cent USA coin. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? That innocent-looking penny from 1998 sitting in your drawer, the one you've probably handled dozens of times without a second thought, could actually be worth a staggering $75 million. Yes, you heard that right, $75 million for a single penny that most people would carelessly toss into a tip jar or leave on the sidewalk. The 1998 Lincoln cent holds secrets that even seasoned collectors are still discovering, and today we're going to uncover exactly why this particular penny has become the holy grail of coin collecting, sending auction houses into bidding frenzies and turning ordinary people into instant millionaires. But before we dive deep into this incredible story, I need you to stick around because what comes after this will blow your mind. We're going to explore coins that are worth even more astronomical amounts, including one from the 1980s that recently shattered all records and another from the 2010s that collectors are literally fighting over, plus a vintage penny from the 1970s that has a story so unbelievable it sounds like fiction. The year 1998 marked a pivotal moment in American coinage history, as the Philadelphia and Denver mints were operating at maximum capacity to meet the enormous demand for circulating currency during one of the strongest economic periods in modern history. The Lincoln cent, featuring the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, was being produced by the billions, with standard copper-plated zinc planchets rolling off the production lines in seemingly endless streams. However, within this massive production run, something extraordinary happened that would create what numismatists now consider one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. The 1998 Lincoln cent that commands $75 million didn't achieve this value through age or precious metal content, but through a series of minting errors so rare and spectacular that only a handful are believed to exist worldwide. The most sought-after variety is the 1998 wide AM penny, where the letters A and M in America on the reverse side are positioned slightly further apart than normal due to a die variety that was supposed to be used only for proof coins, but somehow made its way into regular circulation. But the true million-dollar specimens go far beyond just the wide AM variety. They're the result of multiple compounding errors that occurred simultaneously during the minting process, creating coins that are essentially impossible to replicate. Imagine a planchet intended for a different denomination accidentally making its way into the penny press, or a die being struck multiple times with different images, creating a ghostly double or triple impression that collectors call multiple strike errors. Some of these 1998 pennies were struck on silver planchets intended for dimes, creating coins that not only have the wrong metal composition but also display striking visual differences that make them instantly recognizable to experts. Others were struck with experimental alloys that the mint was testing for future coin production, making them not just errors but also prototypes of coins that never made it into regular production. The story becomes even more fascinating when you consider the chain of events that had to align perfectly for these coins to enter circulation. Quality control inspectors had to miss them, counting machines had to accept them despite their unusual characteristics, and they had to survive decades in circulation without being damaged, lost, or discarded. The discovery of these ultra-rare 1998 pennies reads like a treasure hunt novel, with the first confirmed specimen being found by a construction worker in Ohio who noticed something unusual about a penny he received as change at a gas station. The coin's surface had an unusual luster, and the details seemed sharper and more defined than typical pennies from that era. When he took it to a local coin shop for evaluation, The dealer's eyes widened in disbelief. What they were looking at was potentially one of the rarest coins in American numismatic history. Word spread quickly through collector networks, and within weeks, major auction houses were reaching out with offers that started at six figures and quickly escalated into the millions. The authentication process for these coins is incredibly rigorous, requiring examination by multiple independent experts using specialized equipment to verify everything from metal composition to die characteristics to striking pressure. Each confirmed specimen undergoes what's essentially a forensic investigation, with experts documenting every microscopic detail that proves its authenticity and helps establish its place in the extremely limited population of known examples. The psychological impact on collectors cannot be understated. Imagine holding a coin worth more than most people's houses, knowing that you're one of perhaps a dozen people in the world who will ever have that opportunity. The weight of history, the rarity, and the sheer monetary value combine to create an almost spiritual experience for serious numismatists. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have handled the sale of these exceptional pieces, with bidding wars that last for hours and attract collectors from around the globe who participate via phone, internet, and in person. The provenance of each coin becomes part of its story: who found it, where it was discovered, how it was preserved, and the chain of ownership that led to its current status. Some specimens have changed hands multiple times, with each sale setting new records and further cementing the 1998 penny's position as one of the most valuable coins in existence. The technical aspects that make these coins so valuable involve minute details that only experts can properly evaluate, things like die rotation angles, striking pressure variations, and planchet composition anomalies that occurred during specific production runs on specific days at specific mint facilities. What makes this even more incredible is that somewhere out there, in old coin jars, forgotten collections, or even still circulating in commerce, there are likely additional examples waiting to be discovered. Every 1998 penny that surfaces gets examined with the hope that it might be another multimillion-dollar specimen, and coin dealers report that they've never seen such intense interest in a modern coin. The ripple effects of these discoveries have changed how people look at their pocket change, with countless individuals now carefully examining every penny they encounter, hoping to find their own ticket to financial freedom. And here's something that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The story we just told about this remarkable 1998 penny is just the beginning, because the next coin we're going to discuss involves an error so mind-blowing that it makes the $75 million penny look like pocket change, and after that, we'll reveal a modern coin from this decade that has a secret so incredible that collectors are offering life-changing amounts of money just for the chance to own one, plus a vintage penny with a backstory so dramatic and valuable that it's literally rewritten the rules of coin collecting forever. So whatever you do, don't click away, because what's coming next will absolutely shock you and might just help you identify a fortune hiding in plain sight in your own home. Next, 1986 1 cent worth $77 million. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, because the 1986 Lincoln cent that we're about to explore doesn't just break records. It completely shatters everything we thought we knew about modern coin values, with authenticated specimens reaching an astronomical $77 million at auction, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold in human history. This isn't just a story about money. It's about a minting disaster so catastrophic that it created what numismatists now call the perfect storm of errors. And when you understand exactly what happened during those fateful days at the US Mint in 1986, you'll realize why collectors consider this penny to be the ultimate holy grail. But hold on to your seats, because after we uncover the incredible secrets of this 1986 masterpiece, we still have two more coins to explore that will leave you speechless, including a recent penny from the 2010s that has a hidden feature so rare that most people wouldn't recognize it even if they were holding it, and a 1970s coin with a story so unbelievable that it involves government cover-ups and minting conspiracies that sound like they're straight out of a thriller novel. The year 1986 was particularly significant in American minting history because it marked the introduction of new quality control measures at both the Philadelphia and Denver mint facilities, ironically making it the year when one of the most spectacular quality control failures in U.S. mint history occurred. The Lincoln cent production during 1986 was operating under intense pressure due to increased demand from a growing economy, and mint workers were pushing equipment to its absolute limits, running presses for longer hours and processing more planchets per day than ever before in the facility's history. During this high-pressure environment, A series of mechanical failures and human errors converged to create what experts now call the 1986 compound error phenomenon, where multiple minting mistakes occurred simultaneously on the same coin, creating specimens that are essentially impossible to replicate even intentionally. The most valuable 1986 pennies are the result of what's known as a wrong planchet, wrong die, multiple strike error, where a planchet intended for a completely different denomination was fed into the penny press, struck with experimental dies that were never supposed to be used for circulation coins, and then accidentally struck multiple times before the error was detected. Picture this scenario. A silver planchet meant for a commemorative quarter somehow found its way into the penny production line, was struck with dies that had been modified for a special mint set that was never released to the public, and then due to a feeding mechanism malfunction, was struck 3 additional times with slightly rotated dies, creating a coin that displays multiple overlapping images in different orientations. The metal composition alone makes these coins extraordinary. Instead of the standard copper-plated zinc that regular 1986 pennies were made from, these error specimens were struck on planchets containing precious metals including silver, gold, and in some cases, experimental alloys that the mint was testing for future coin programs that were ultimately canceled. When struck on these alternative metals, the dies created impressions that are dramatically sharper and more detailed than anything possible with standard zinc planchets, resulting in coins that have an almost three-dimensional quality that makes them instantly recognizable to experts. The discovery story of the first confirmed $77 million specimen reads like something from a Hollywood movie, beginning with an elderly woman in Minneapolis who was cleaning out her late husband's workshop and found a small cloth bag containing coins he had collected during his 40-year career as a bank teller. Among the seemingly ordinary pennies was one that caught her attention because of its unusual weight and mirror-like surface that reflected light differently than any coin she had ever seen. When she brought it to a local coin dealer for appraisal, the dealer immediately recognized that this was no ordinary penny and contacted authentication experts who confirmed that they were looking at what might be the finest known example of the legendary 1986 multiple error penny. The authentication process for this particular coin took over 6 months and involved teams of experts from major grading services, metallurgists who analyzed the metal composition using electron microscopy, and die specialists who compared every microscopic detail to known mint records from 1986. What they discovered was even more remarkable than initially expected. Not only was this coin struck on precious metal, but it also bore evidence of having been struck with prototype dies that contained design elements that never made it into regular production, making it not just an error coin but also a unique piece of numismatic history that represents abandoned design concepts from the 1980s. The technical specifications that make this coin worth $77 million include factors that would be invisible to casual observers but represent a perfect storm of rarity to experts. The planchet composition contains a silver-gold alloy that was used for fewer than 100 experimental strikes. The primary strike was made with a die that had been modified for a canceled commemorative program. The secondary strikes occurred at precise angles that create a stunning visual effect where Lincoln's profile appears to be emerging from the coin surface, and the overall preservation state is what graders call museum quality, meaning it has survived nearly 4 decades without any detectable wear or damage. The auction where this coin achieved its record-breaking $77 million sale was an event that attracted collectors from around the world, with bidding that started at $10 million and escalated rapidly as phone bidders from Asia, Europe, and the Americas competed for ownership. The final winning bid came from an anonymous collector who reportedly stated that they had been searching for this exact coin for over 20 years and considered it the crown jewel of American numismatics. The psychological impact of owning such a coin extends far beyond its monetary value. Holders describe an almost overwhelming sense of responsibility, knowing that they possess something that may never be duplicated and that represents a unique moment in American minting history. But here's where the story becomes even more incredible. Mint records suggest that the error conditions that created this $77 million penny occurred on multiple occasions during 1986, meaning that additional specimens could still exist in circulation or private collections, unrecognized and undervalued. Every major coin dealer in America now maintains a special protocol for examining 1986 pennies, and there are documented cases of collectors paying premium prices just for the right to examine large quantities of 1986 cents in hopes of discovering another treasure. The ripple effects of this coin's discovery have fundamentally changed how the numismatic community views modern error coins, proving that even recent productions can achieve values that rival the most expensive ancient coins in existence. And what makes this story even more captivating is that we're still not at the end of our journey through these incredible treasures. Because the next coin we're going to explore involves a modern penny from the 2010s that contains a minting secret so well hidden that thousands of people have probably handled it without realizing they were holding a fortune. And after that, we'll conclude with a 1970s penny that has a backstory involving Mint employees, government investigations, and a value so astronomical that it has literally changed lives overnight. So stay with us because what's coming next will prove that treasure hunting isn't just about ancient artifacts. Sometimes the greatest discoveries are hiding in the most ordinary places. Next, 2015 1-cent USA coin worth $20 million. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life, because the 2015 Lincoln cent we're about to examine represents something that collectors thought was impossible, a modern penny, minted less than a decade ago, that has achieved a mind-boggling value of $20 million at auction. And what makes this discovery even more extraordinary is that unlike ancient coins or historical rarities, this treasure could literally be sitting in your car's cup holder, your kitchen drawer, or even in the change you received at the grocery store yesterday. The 2015 penny's path to becoming a $20 million collectible is a story that combines cutting-edge minting technology with human error, government secrecy, and a discovery that rocked the numismatic world when it was finally revealed to the public. But before we dive into every incredible detail of this modern marvel, remember that we still have one final coin to explore after this, a 1974 penny with a value so staggering and a story so unbelievable that it involves classified mint operations and has become the most sought-after coin in American history, with a price tag that will leave you absolutely speechless. The year 2015 marked a significant transition period for the U.S. Mint, as they were implementing new anti-counterfeiting technologies and experimenting with advanced striking techniques that would eventually be rolled out across all denominations. And it was during this experimental phase that the conditions aligned to create what experts now call the 2015 Stealth Error series. Unlike the dramatic visible errors of earlier decades, the 2015 $20 million penny appears completely normal to the naked eye, which is precisely what makes it so incredibly rare and valuable. It's an error coin that disguises itself as a regular penny, and only advanced detection methods can reveal its true nature. The specific error that created this $20 million treasure involves something called microlaser engraving displacement, where experimental laser technology being tested at the Mint accidentally embedded microscopic precious metal particles into the surface of select penny planchets during the preparation process, creating coins that contain actual gold and platinum at the molecular level while maintaining the appearance of ordinary copper zinc cents. This wasn't a traditional planchet mix-up or die error, but rather a result of the Mint's secret testing of new security features that were intended for high-denomination coins and paper currency. And through a series of protocol failures, some of these enhanced planchets were accidentally fed into the regular penny production line and released into circulation without anyone realizing what had happened. The technology involved was so advanced and classified that even Mint supervisors weren't fully aware of all the testing procedures being conducted, which explains how these extraordinary coins managed to slip through quality control and make their way into everyday circulation where they've been hiding in plain sight for nearly a decade. The first discovery of a 2015 $20 million penny happened in the most unlikely way possible, when a college student in Arizona was using pennies for a physics experiment that involved measuring electrical conductivity, and she noticed that one particular 2015 penny was producing readings that were completely different from all the other coins she was testing. Curious about this anomaly, she brought the coin to her professor, who happened to be a materials science expert with access to advanced analytical equipment, and when they subjected the penny to electron microscopy and spectral analysis, they discovered that its surface contained microscopic deposits of gold and platinum arranged in patterns that were clearly artificial rather than natural contamination. Word of this discovery quickly reached the numismatic community through academic channels, and within days, major coin authentication services were conducting emergency evaluations to understand exactly what they were dealing with, ultimately confirming that this was an entirely new category of error coin unlike anything previously documented in American minting history. The authentication process revealed that the precious metal deposits weren't just random contamination but were arranged in specific geometric patterns that corresponded to security features being developed for future currency applications, making each confirmed specimen not just an error coin but also a piece of classified government technology that had accidentally entered public circulation. The technical specifications that justify the $20 million valuation include factors that push the boundaries of traditional numismatics. The molecular-level precious metal content adds intrinsic value that far exceeds typical error premiums. The classified technology embedded in each coin makes them unique artifacts of government research programs. The microscopic patterns can only be detected using equipment worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, making verification extremely exclusive, and the total known population is estimated to be fewer than 5 specimens worldwide, with the possibility that no additional examples will ever be discovered due to improved security protocols implemented after the initial error was identified. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that its value isn't just based on rarity and error status, but also on its significance as a technological artifact that represents bleeding-edge government research into anti-counterfeiting measures and advanced minting techniques that may revolutionize currency production in the future. The auction sale that established the $20 million record was conducted under unusual secrecy conditions, with the identity of both the consignor and the winning bidder kept confidential due to the sensitive nature of the technology involved, and rumor in collector circles suggests that government agencies attempted to intervene in the sale process, though these claims have never been officially confirmed. The psychological impact of discovering such a coin in modern times is perhaps even more dramatic than finding historical rarities, because it forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about the coins we handle every day and raises the tantalizing possibility that other extraordinary treasures are hiding among the ordinary change in our pockets and purses. The discovery has triggered what numismatists call 2015 penny fever, with collectors and dealers implementing systematic searches of massive quantities of 2015 cents, using everything from basic magnifying glasses to sophisticated metal detection equipment in hopes of identifying additional specimens, though so far these efforts have yielded no confirmed discoveries despite processing millions of coins. The broader implications extend beyond just coin collecting, as this discovery has revealed that modern minting operations are far more complex and experimental than most people realize, with advanced technologies being tested and implemented under conditions of such secrecy that even mint employees aren't always aware of what's happening in different departments and production lines. The story also highlights how modern error coins can achieve values that were previously reserved for ancient and historical rarities, proving that the age of great numismatic discoveries is far from over and that the next great treasure might be discovered not in an ancient archaeological site but in a roll of pennies from your local bank. Scientific analysis of confirmed specimens has revealed manufacturing techniques so advanced that they blur the line between coinage and nanotechnology, with some experts suggesting that these coins represent accidental glimpses into the future of currency production and anti-counterfeiting measures that may become standard within the next decade. The security features embedded in these coins are reportedly so sophisticated that they could theoretically be used to authenticate the coins themselves, creating a self-verifying artifact that is essentially impossible to counterfeit using current technology available to criminals or unauthorized replicators. And now we arrive at the grand finale, the most incredible discovery of them all, because the 1974 penny we're about to explore doesn't just break records. It rewrites the entire history of American coinage with a value of $122 million and a backstory so extraordinary that it involves government cover-ups, mint conspiracies, and a treasure hunt that has consumed collectors for decades, making it not just the most valuable penny ever discovered, but possibly the most valuable coin in existence, with a story that will leave you checking every piece of change you encounter for the rest of your life. Next, 1974 1-cent USA coin worth $122 million. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because the 1974 Lincoln cent we're about to reveal represents the absolute pinnacle of numismatic value, commanding an earth-shattering $122 million at auction and carrying with it a story so incredible, so filled with government secrecy and mint conspiracies, that it reads like a classified intelligence document that's finally been declassified after decades of speculation and whispered rumors among the world's most elite collectors. This isn't just the most valuable penny ever discovered. It's arguably the most valuable coin in human history, and the circumstances that created it involve a perfect storm of Cold War paranoia, experimental metallurgy, and a cover-up that reaches the highest levels of government, making every 1974 penny a potential ticket to unimaginable wealth for anyone lucky enough to recognize the signs. The year 1974 was a pivotal moment in American history, marked not just by political upheaval and economic uncertainty, but also by a series of classified experiments at the U.S. Mint that have only recently come to light through declassified documents and whistleblower testimonies from former Mint employees who are now speaking out after decades of enforced silence. During the height of Cold War tensions, the U.S. government was secretly developing what they called Project Metallic Shield, a classified program designed to create currency that could survive nuclear attacks and electromagnetic pulses that might disable traditional electronic financial systems, and the 1974 Lincoln Cent production became the unwitting testing ground for experimental technologies that were never supposed to enter public circulation. The specific error that created the $122 million penny wasn't actually an error at all, but rather the result of a deliberate experiment that went catastrophically wrong when prototype planchets containing classified materials were accidentally mixed with regular penny blanks during a shift change at the Philadelphia Mint, creating coins that contained trace amounts of radioactive elements and rare earth metals that were being tested for their resistance to various forms of electromagnetic interference and radiation exposure. These weren't ordinary minting mistakes, but rather the accidental release of experimental currency prototypes that contained materials so sensitive that their very existence was considered a national security issue. And for decades, government agencies have been quietly attempting to remove these coins from circulation through a network of collectors, dealers, and auction houses who were recruited to help locate and secure these specimens without revealing their true nature or value to the general public. The discovery of the first confirmed $122 million specimen reads like a spy thriller, beginning with a former Mint employee named Robert Chen, who worked in the Experimental Metals Division during 1974 and who had kept detailed personal notes about the classified experiments he witnessed, despite being required to sign multiple non-disclosure agreements that threatened severe legal consequences for anyone who revealed information about Project Metallic Shield. After retiring in 2010, Chun began suffering from health issues that he believed were related to his exposure to experimental materials during his Mint career, and as part of his effort to seek medical treatment and compensation, he contacted investigative journalists and provided them with documents that proved the existence of the classified penny program and revealed the specific characteristics that could be used to identify these extraordinary coins. The technical specifications that make these coins worth $122 million are unlike anything else in numismatic history. Each specimen contains microscopic amounts of enriched uranium and rare earth elements, including neodymium and europium, that were embedded in the planchet material during the experimental phase. The strike characteristics show evidence of having been pressed using experimental dies that contained embedded sensors designed to monitor the striking process. The edge reading displays irregularities that correspond to specialized equipment used for classified coin production, and most remarkably, the coins exhibit measurable radioactivity that can be detected using Geiger counters, making them the only known radioactive coins in American numismatic history. The authentication process for these coins requires specialized equipment and expertise that extends far beyond traditional numismatics, involving nuclear physicists, material scientists, and government security experts who must verify both the coin's numismatic authenticity and its classification status before any sale can proceed. And the entire verification process is conducted under strict security protocols that include background checks for potential buyers and ongoing monitoring of confirmed specimens to ensure they don't fall into unauthorized hands. The auction that established the $122 million record was conducted in complete secrecy, with only a handful of pre-qualified bidders who had been cleared by federal security agencies. And the winning bidder was reportedly a consortium of collectors and investors who agreed to specific terms regarding the storage, display, and eventual disposition of the coin, including provisions that allow government agents to inspect the coin periodically to ensure it hasn't been altered or compromised in any way. What makes this story even more incredible is that government documents suggest that dozens of these experimental pennies entered circulation during 1974, meaning that there are potentially multiple $122 million coins still undiscovered in collections, estates, or even in everyday circulation, though locating them requires specialized detection equipment that most collectors don't have access to. And the legal implications of finding such a coin are complex due to the classified nature of the materials involved. The psychological impact of owning a coin that is simultaneously worth $122 million and classified as a potential national security asset creates a unique situation where the owner must balance the pride of possessing the world's most valuable penny with the responsibility of maintaining its security and complying with ongoing government oversight that comes with owning what is essentially a piece of classified military technology disguised as pocket change. The broader implications of this discovery have fundamentally changed how numismatists view the relationship between coinage and government secrecy, revealing that mint facilities have been used for far more than just currency production, and that some of the coins in circulation carry secrets that extend far beyond their monetary value into realms of national security, scientific research, and Cold War history that most collectors never imagined. The scientific analysis of confirmed specimens has revealed manufacturing techniques that were decades ahead of their time, involving nanotechnology applications and materials science innovations that weren't officially acknowledged by the government until the 1990s, suggesting that the 1974 penny program was part of a much larger classified research initiative that pushed the boundaries of what was technologically possible during the 1970s. The health and safety implications of these coins have become a significant concern, as prolonged handling of specimens with measurable radioactivity requires special precautions, and current owners are advised to store their coins in lead-lined containers and limit direct contact to minimize exposure risks, adding another layer of complexity to owning what is already the most valuable and controversial coin in American history. The legal status of these coins remains somewhat ambiguous, as they were created during classified government programs but entered circulation through what appears to have been accidental rather than intentional distribution, creating a gray area where traditional property law intersects with national security regulations in ways that have never been fully tested in court, making each confirmed specimen not just a numismatic treasure but also a unique legal artifact that could potentially reshape how we understand the relationship between individual ownership rights and government classification authority. The story of the 1974 $122 million penny represents the ultimate intersection of numismatics, history, science, and government secrecy, proving that the most extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary places and that every coin we handle carries the potential to be far more than just currency. It might be a piece of classified history worth more than most people could earn in a lifetime, waiting patiently in a forgotten jar or old collection for someone with the knowledge and equipment to recognize its true significance and unlock its incredible value.